Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome here to the Launchpad and our live countdown to launch coverage for SpaceX Project Kuiper KF-02, the second launch with SpaceX for the Amazon Project Kuiper satellite constellation. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad Network and here at TLP. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you joining us live here today. We, of course, are also monitoring the countdown to the return of Crew 10. They are now targeting the San Diego splashdown area, the same as the last crew that came in, and they are going to be beginning that live coverage in about an hour. So we'll watch Kuiper launch, and then we'll head on over and listen in to that final preparations in preparation for the deorbit burn and the return of Crew 10. But as always, as we get started, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from, and while you do so, take a moment and engage that like button, share out the stream. All three things are free to do, and we'd really appreciate your support there. We're just waiting for SpaceX to begin their live coverage. They were supposed to do it at the 15-minute mark, but they haven't started just yet. But once they do, we will, of course, patch them in and listen in to SpaceX Mission Control for an update on today's countdown. Today's launch is taking place from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida with a brand new Falcon 9 booster, Booster 10 at 91. Now, the interesting part of this booster is not only is it a brand new booster, but this booster is actually a Falcon Heavy booster, but not a side booster. This will be the first time SpaceX is attempting to fly a Falcon Heavy center core capable single stick Falcon 9. Previously, all other center cores were designed specifically as a center core, and that's all they were able to fly. But SpaceX now attempting to create this kind of next variant of it that they'll be able to, now that they just generally dispose of the center core with Falcon Heavy, they are now trying to get some flights out of them prior to it becoming a center core on a Falcon Heavy mission. Now, as SpaceX gets spooled up and ready to start today's broadcast, we'll get ready to listen into them. But as always, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad. We'll work on answering those live. Big day for SpaceX today. This is their 100th mission of 2025, 540th mission in their entire history. This will be the 97th Falcon 9 mission of this year and 515th Falcon 9 mission in their history. We're also looking at the 175th orbital launch attempt of 2025. So let's actually hear from you guys in the chat. Where do you think that orbital launch number is going to land when we get to New Year's Eve this year? We'll be into the 200s. Do you think somehow we stretch and get to the threes? Let me know what your number is in the chat. If you're new to the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, Falcon 9 is a two-stage launch vehicle built by SpaceX, capable of carrying 22,800 kilograms to low Earth orbit or 8,300 kilograms to geotransfer orbit. The rocket stands at 70 meters tall with a 13-meter tall fairing and a 5.2-meter diameter. The first stage is reusable, the second stage is not, but the fairings are also reusable. At liftoff, Falcon 9 produces just over 7,600 kilonewtons of thrust, and on average, it's costing just under $70 million per launch for a Falcon 9 mission, but that also depends on if it's a new booster or a reused booster. We've been monitoring weather conditions. I know one of the other Space Coast photographers posted a picture of a funnel cloud earlier this morning, but looks like that weather's clearing off on the Space Coast, clearing the way for today's flight. Falcon 9 well into propellant loading at this point, just a couple minutes away from engine chill. That's when they'll chill the 9 Merlin engines on the first stage in preparation for launch. You see Starship in the video there. They are currently targeting no earlier than August 22nd for the launch of Starship, with backup opportunities for the week following. Make sure you've engaged that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage. And of course, our countdown to launch of Starship Flight Test 10. Incredible to say 10 already. We're now approximately 10 minutes away from the second Falcon 9 launch with a batch of Kuiper satellites on board. Let's listen in to SpaceX Mission Control.
You are looking at a live view of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket as we prepare to launch the KF-02 mission from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Tyler Lionquist, and I'm an analyst here at SpaceX, and welcome to our live launch coverage, delivering 24 Kuiper satellites to orbit on behalf of our customer, Amazon. Today's mission is named KF-02 for the second Falcon 9 launch for Amazon's Project Kuiper. Project Kuiper is Amazon's low Earth orbit satellite constellation, which will provide fast, reliable internet to customers and communities around the world. Today's mission marks our second of 3 planned Kuiper missions, and this will be the 4th launch of Project Kuiper satellites this year, adding another 24 satellites to its constellation. At T-minus 8 minutes and 57 seconds, weather is a watch item, but if we are unable to launch this morning, a backup opportunity will be available tomorrow at 8:57 a.m. Eastern Time. And just a quick note, at our customer's request, we will be ending live coverage of the mission just after the first stage booster landing. And with that, let's take a moment to learn a bit more about the vehicle supporting today's mission. That is Falcon 9 on your screen. It is a 2-stage rocket that is 229 feet tall and is getting ready for liftoff in just under 8.5 minutes. At launch, it produces more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. And rockets like Falcon 9 don't use all of that power just to go straight up. Early in flight, Falcon 9 performs a gravity turn that is a smooth pitch maneuver that tilts the rocket sideways to build up horizontal velocity. You might hear this call out about 10 seconds into launch as vehicle pitching downrange. Once the first stage completes its portion of the mission, it shuts down and separates. A staged rocket like Falcon 9 sheds the booster, so stage 2 and the payload can keep climbing faster and more efficiently. After stage separation, today's booster will land on our drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas, which is currently stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. And this particular booster is going to be returning to Earth for its first time. The second stage takes over from there, powered by a single Merlin vacuum engine, also known as the MVAC. With its extended nozzle and optimized design, the MVAC drives maximum performance in the vacuum of space. And topping it all off is the payload fairing. It's a 17-foot wide carbon composite shell that protects the satellite during the uphill trip through the atmosphere. About 3 minutes into flight, both halves of the fairing will separate and parachute back to Earth. Both fairing halves...
Engine trill has started.
Good call out. Both fairing halves have seen multiple flights, one flying for its 28th time today and the other for its 5th. If recovery goes to plan, the fairings will be pulled from the ocean and prepped to fly again. So much of what makes Falcon 9 remarkable happens in flight. The stage is separating, the first stage landing itself on a drone ship in the middle of the ocean, the fairings parachuting back, all to get ready for another flight to space. At T-minus 6 minutes and just under 30 seconds, Falcon 9 is tracking no issues.
Stage 1, RP1 load complete.
And our payload is healthy. The Falcon 9 team reported on console at T-minus 2 hours and 15 minutes and began their final checks of the launch vehicle and ground systems. As a reminder, if we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at 10:05 a.m. Eastern. Next up in the countdown, the transporter erector, or TE, will begin to retract away from Falcon 9. That's the large truss structure you see standing next to the rocket. It's hinged at the base and connected to the launch mount beneath the first stage. First, we'll see the clamp arms open around the second stage, and then the TE will begin to pivot back, slowly swinging away from the rocket. It'll reach its full recline by T-minus 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Just a quick correction, the window tomorrow begins at, or the backup opportunity will begin tomorrow at 8:57 a.m. Eastern Time. You might also hear the TE referred to as the strongback. It's the same structure, just a different name. It also does a lot more than lean. It rolls Falcon 9 out to the pad, raises it vertical.
Vehicle tanks are pressurizing for strongback retract.
and it stays connected through to the final seconds of launch. It provides fuel, power, telemetry, and command connections between ground systems and the rocket. We're about 20 seconds away from starting to see those clamp arms opening up around the second stage on our vehicle stack. Those clamp arms help stabilize the second stage during fueling, and
blower has started.
They also prevent movement in high winds. And once they're open, the rocket will be fully free at the top. You can see a great view of those clamp arms opening up just now. Those clamp arms are open, and the rocket is now free. You can see on your screen as the strong back is slowly reclining away. Right now, both stages are nearly fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of propellant. That includes RP1, a highly refined kerosene, and liquid oxygen chilled to under 300 degrees below zero. Propellant is loaded late in the countdown, and that's intentional. Colder propellants are denser, and denser propellants mean more performance out of the same tanks. The colder it is, the more mass you can move. Before any of that propellant flows, though, the plumbing and engines are chilled down. That prevents thermal shock and boil off when the ultra-cold liquid starts moving. And you might hear that referred to as engine chill.
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
As you just heard over the nets, there's confirmation of Stage 1 liquid oxygen loading completion. The second stage will finish up about a minute later. The tanks are also pressurized using helium. That helium is chilled too, so it stays compatible with their cryogenic plumbing. During flight, that pressurization helps force propellant into the engines as the tanks empty. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will enter startup. At that point, the rocket's onboard flight computers will take over. And from there on out, the countdown is fully autonomous. Just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, the 9 Merlin 1D engines will ignite, and once they're at full power, Falcon 9 will lift off the pad and begin its climb.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Great call out. So the first and second stages are now fully loaded with over 1 million pounds of rocket-grade kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. You've probably noticed those white clouds venting from the rocket. That isn't smoke, it's actually condensation. As the liquid oxygen warms inside the tanks, some of it boils off. That gas is then vented to manage pressure. When the vented oxygen hits the warm, humid Florida air, it instantly condenses into clouds.
Gas launch closeout has started.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
At T-minus 1 minute, Falcon 9 is in startup.
Hold.
Launch abort is running.
All right, team, that was a scrub due to weather. Let's go ahead and proceed into the non-crewed scrub section of procedure 1.160 and step into offloads.
As you may have heard on the comms, we're standing down from today's launch attempt due to weather. The vehicle and payload remain in good health, and our next launch opportunity is tomorrow at 8:57 a.m. Eastern Time.